Hello all. So today we are going to start our next topic as per IBBI exam, which is environmental issues in valuation. As per IBBI syllabus, it carries 3 marks of theory and a numerical or case study, normally up to 12 marks, may come out of this topic. We'll try to cover this theory part along with numericals in 3 sessions. So in session 1 and 2, we will try to primarily focus on theory portion, and in session number 3, we will more focus on numericals and case studies along with some part of concepts to solve those numericals. This is the syllabus as per IBBI examination, which we are required to cover to score 3 marks of theory, and numerical may also come. So environment and valuation, so difference between market price and negative value consequent to environmental impact. So contaminant valuation of contaminated properties, environmental issues of air pollution, water pollution, environmental factors, their effects, measure to restore the damaged, cost to cure. There are other type of cures also that we will discuss. Outline of environmental legislations. So basic idea of all these acts: Forest Act, Water Control Act, Air Pollution Act, Environmental Act, and other laws related to the industrial health and safety. So we will try to cover all these topics along with key concepts out of which theory or numerical may come in IBBI exam. Let us first understand what is the responsibility of a valuer. As a valuer, what is our responsibility and to what extent we are supposed to have an understanding of the environmental aspects. So both RICS and IVS 2017 guidelines stipulate that though the valuers need not to be environmental experts, we are not supposed to be environmental experts. However, they should have elementary knowledge about the environmental issue, because environmental, we have already we all have studied a full syllabus during our civil engineering. So environmental itself is a full-fledged subject to study about. So we'll try to have a basic idea of key aspects from valuer perspective in this IBBI exam syllabus. So we should have elementary knowledge. So in case the valuer through normal inquiries or local knowledge smells the potential presence of any environmental issue, he should recommend that an advice of environmental expert be obtained. So if I go and visit to a property and I smell something, so those things we will discuss in subsequent slides. What are things are required to be seen in a property. So if as a valuer I feel that some contamination is there or some environmental related issue is there with the property which I am going to value, so I can, as a valuer, I can recommend to obtain advice of an environmental expert to avoid future complications towards me. Asset standard IVS 2002, asset standard IVS 400, real property interest, and under IVS 2017 requires that the responsibility for identification of actual or potential environmental risk should be stated in the scope of work. Otherwise, if the client agrees, a special assumption that the property is free from contamination or other environmental risk should be incorporated in the valuation report. So either it should be part of the scope when a client gives a task, gives an assignment to me as a valuer, it should be mentioned that I, as a valuer, I have to see environmental aspects of the property also. Otherwise, I can, as a valuer, I can stipulate a condition that the property is free from contamination or other environmental risk. That is assumption to avoid future complications. So what is environmental pollution? Environmental pollutant and contamination. So these are the basically two key terms, and there is a hairline difference between these two terms, and a numerical theory 1 mark theory question may come out of it. So environmental pollutant is, it means any solid, liquid, gaseous or other substance present in such concentration which may be or tend to be injurious to the environment, giving rise to adverse effect on marketability of the asset. The foreign matter causing environmental pollution is called pollutant. So this is the pollutant basically, which is existing in the environment in a condition which is, in a concentration which is causing, any harm to living beings or environment. So that is, if any foreign matter is available in that concentration causing any injury, any negative effect on the environment, that foreign matter is called pollutant. So then what is contamination? Contamination is defined as alteration of physical, chemical or biological characteristics of the environment which may not necessarily create deleterious effect due to lesser concentration. So here the concentration of the foreign matter is less, so it may not have severe negative effect. However, it is less than the concentration which may cause injury to the any negative effect on the health of the human being, but it is available. So before pollutant it is contamination. So contaminants in higher concentration become pollutants. So when concentration of contaminant increases beyond a certain limit, these contaminants turn into pollutants that may ultimately lead to degradation or deterioration of the value of property or asset. So if contaminant may not be, have that much negative effect, but pollutant have a serious negative effect on the environment and value of the property. So there are basically 4 types of environment pollutions: air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, land pollution. Let us see one by one. Air pollution: any deleterious change in the composition of the clean atmospheric air is known as air pollution. As per section 2B, please remember this section 2B of air under bracket Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. This year of act also please remember. Air pollutant means any solid, any liquid or any gaseous substance including noise. So this is important. This 1 mark theory question can come. Examiner may ask you subsection, name of the act, year of the act, then what air pollutant means: solid, liquid, gaseous and noise. Noise is also an important point, please remember. So present in the atmosphere in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to human being or other living creatures or plants or property or environment. So that is air pollutant as per section 2B of Air Prevention Control of Pollution Act 1981. Criteria air pollutant. So 1 mark theory question can also come out of this slide. Out of various air contaminants, US Environmental Protection Agency, which is in short form called as USEPA, WHO and Central Pollution Control Board Agency, CPCB agency, which is of India, have defined allowable concentration of 6 substances as part of NAAQS. Full form of NAAQS can also come in the exam, which is National Ambient Air Quality Standard. We might have heard air quality index or air quality standard. So the set of 6 pollutant is called criteria air pollutant. So 1 mark theory question can also come. How many pollutants are there in criteria air pollutant? Which chemical is not included in criteria air pollutant, or which chemical, which gas is included in criteria air pollutant? So these type of theory question can come. So please remember, so these are the 6 pollutants which are being considered and put under category of criteria air pollutant: carbon monoxide, CO, nitrogen dioxide, NO2, sulfur dioxide, SO2, particulate matter, PM10. This is important: PM2, PM5, PM10. So this type of question theory marks may come in the exam. Lead, Pb, ground level ozone, O3. So these 6 parameters, these 6 pollutants are being considered under category of criteria air pollutant. Next is water pollution. When level of pollutant in water is more than their prescribed standards. water is said to be polluted. So Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. So here please remember it is 1974, deals with water pollution. So in case of air it was 1981, for water it is 1974. So valuer should take into consideration the source of water supply and the quality characteristics while determining value of the property. So whenever we do valuation of a property as a valuer, it is our duty to check what is the source of water supply to the property and what are the quality characteristics of that water being supplied inside the property. So thermal pollution is another form of water pollution. This is also an important 1 mark theory question can come out of this slide, that thermal pollution is part of air pollution, water pollution. This theory mark question can come. So you should remember thermal pollution is another form of water pollution and is commonly caused by people or industries by undertaking activities that suddenly decrease or increase the temperature of natural water bodies like lakes, river, oceans, ponds, etc. The alteration of natural water resources temperature can have dire consequences of aquatic life and local ecosystem. Next type of pollution is noise pollution. Transmission of noise which is capable of producing psychological impact. So keyword is psychological impact on an individual is called noise pollution. So 1 mark theory question can come out of definition of noise pollution. Hearing loss is becoming frequent phenomena in many urban centers of our nation. Valuation of property is dictated by its location. So while doing valuation, we should always see as a valuer what is the location of the property. For example, an apartment near cricket stadium or school would fetch less value due to much noise adding to the nuisance value. And the fourth type of pollution is land pollution. So land pollution is the decline in quality of the earth's land surface in terms of use, landscape and ability to support life forms. So 1 mark theory question can also come out of it. Land pollution can be broadly classified as contamination of land due to uncontrolled storage and disposal or dumping of solid and hazardous chemical, etc. And alteration of land due to land use like deforestation, farming, mining, developmental work like transport and communication, acid rain, construction site, solid waste, mineral exploitation, agriculture, chemical and deforestation are primary causes of land pollution. So next topic under this chapter is environmental degradation. What are the causes of it? So different kind of human activities have led to environmental degradation. So environmental changes are based on many factors including urbanization, industrialization, overpopulation and economic growth, deforestation and intensification of agriculture, increase in use of energy and transportation. What are the different methods of restoring the environmental degradation? So these are the steps which we should take to restore the environmental degradation. So first action we should take is reform current system. More strict laws toward environmental pollution must be implemented. So whatever laws we have, so those laws should get this authorities and government should consider making the stricter laws. So promote green jobs, uplift people out of poverty. So if poverty will go down, then environmental level will improve. Television, increase real-time debates and discussions among environmental experts on TV. That will increase awareness among people about the environment, importance of environment. Abandon cap and trade system. It is also important. So the existing global cap and trade system sets limit on carbon emission by business. This system allows the worst polluter to buy pollution credits from those who stay under the limit and pollute less. Ideally, polluters should be held criminally liable instead of more economic penalties. So as per cap and trade system, there are few industries which are causing more pollution and there are few industries which are causing less pollution. So the companies which are causing more pollution can buy pollution credits from the companies or carbon emission credits from the companies which are causing less pollution. So this is the existing system. So this is allowing the companies causing more pollution to way out to come out of this problem, to avoid their responsibility toward the environment. So ideally, because environment is a very important aspect for our generation and our upcoming generation, so ideally these companies causing more pollution should be held criminally liable, and there should not be any in addition to the financial burden on them. Label genetically modified foods. There is currently no way to know if your genetically modified food, despite the fact that there are significant environmental hazardous health hazards associated with genetically modified organisms. Promote renewable energy and new energy technology. Solar and wind industry should be promoted to reduce our reliance on oil, fossil fuel, etc. Stop environmentally harmful subsidies. Government should remove subsidies given to industries causing pollution or increase taxes on these polluting industries. Trust, a tool to manage the common. So it is important point from examination perspective. Common are generally referred to as land or resources belonging to or affecting the whole of a community. So these are the common resources, or natural resources available to the entire society and entire mankind. So government should create trust to manage the commons. So 1 mark theory question can come, what is common? And to protect the natural resources for present and future generations. This is already successfully implemented by many countries. Example, Pacific Forest Trust, Marine Agricultural Land Trust, the Oxygen Water Trust. So 1 mark theory question can come out of this slide. Set up system for voluntary cooperation. Since environment varies so much from place to place, instead of a common national solution, people should have a say within their community about how to deal with the local environmental issues. Environmental legislations. So to give explicit priority to climate change, Ministry of Environment and Forest, MOEF in short form it is called, changed its name to MOEFCC in May 2014, and full form of MOEFCC is Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So earlier the name of the ministry was Ministry of Environment and Forest, but in May 14, to give more impetus on climate change, the ministry changed its name from Ministry of Environment and Forest to Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. 1 mark theory question can come out of this slide. Constitution provisions. So please remember these three provisions which are applicable for environmental and were incorporated in 1976 under Constitution. So number 1 provision is article number 21, fundamental right to pollution free environment. Article 48A, it is duty of state government to protect and improve environment, forest and wildlife. Article 51AG, it is also a duty of every citizen to protect and improve environment, forest and wildlife. 1 mark theory question can come out of it. Major environmental legislation. So these are the 5 major environmental legislation out of which theory question can come. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board together ensure protection of environment through following 5 major legislations, 4 or 5 major legislations. Number 1 legislation is Indian Forest Act. Subsequently it was changed to Forest Conservation Act in 1980. And then Water Act or Water Prevention Control of Pollution Act, Air Pollution Act 1981, and then Environmental Protection Act 1986. So please remember year of these acts and name of these acts. So first act is Indian Forest Act 1927. So key, though it's a big act, but from examination perspective, these are the salient features or key factors you should remember to score 1 mark theory question out of it. The act strengthens the law to protect, this is scope. The act strengthens the law to protect forest and lays down guideline with respect to transit of forest produce. So this act has, the scope of the act is protection of the forest, and movement of forest produce. The Act also stipulates the duty leviable on timber and other forest produces. The Act allowed establishment of forest courts with 3% judges. 1 mark theory question can come out of this sentence. Forest court decision is considered to be final. However, state government alone may alter it within 5 years. After all settlement, reserve forest is notified. Thus, the Act allows the state government to declare any land in reserve forest. The Act also allows appointment of forest settlement officer. This is also important point. Please remember, the Act also has penal provision of 6 months of jail or fine up to 500 rupees. 1 mark theory question can come out of this statement. The Act can also was into force till 1980, when it was realized that protecting forest for timber production alone was not acceptable. To protect entire biodiversity of the forest, a new act called Forest Conservation Act was enacted in 1980 and subsequently amended in 1988, and rules were amended in 1992. So please remember these 3 years that this Indian Forest Act was subsequently replaced by new act which was called Forest Conservation Act in 1990, and this new act was came into picture in 1980, and it was amended in 1988, and rules were amended in 1992. The new act strictly restricted and regulated the de-reservation of forest and use of forest land for non-forest purpose without prior approval of central government. Thus, the act lays down prerequisite for the diversion of forest land for non-forest purpose. So, as per the act, non-forest purpose means, this is also important, 1 mark theory question can come in exam. It means non-forest purpose means cleaning of any forest land for cultivation of tea, coffee, spices, rubber, palm, oil bearing plants, horticulture crop or medicinal plant, or for any produce except reforestation. So 1 mark theory question can come out of it. Please remember this statement. And non-forest purpose doesn't include any work relating to conservation, development, management of forest and wildlife. For example, construction of checkpost, fire lines, fencing, bridges, culverts, dams, pipelines, water holes, etc. do not fall in category of non-forest purpose. So this is also important statement. The act has penal provision of jail up to 15 days. Next important act as per IBBI syllabus, which is important, is Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, and the act was amended in 1988. So the salient feature from examination perspective are, the scope of the act is, the act was enacted to prevent water pollution by controlling discharge of any harmful sewage or any effluent causing alteration of physical, chemical or biological properties of water. This is the scope of the act. The act allowed creation of CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, under section 16A, and State Pollution Control Board under section 7B to monitor water pollution. This is also important statement out of which in the 1 mark theory question can come, and then 1 mark theory question can also come on this statement also. Penalties for violation and recurrence. The act has provision for penalty up to 3 months to 6 years and fine up to 5,000 rupees per day. Next important act is Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, and this act was amended in 1987. Please remember it. Scope of the act is, the act was enacted to prevent air pollution by controlling discharge of solid, liquid, gas and noise. So noise is also important into atmosphere in such concentration which is injurious to the health. So noise also come under Water Pollution, Air Pollution Act. It also asked CPCB and SPCPs, Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board, which were created under Water Pollution Act, to prevent air pollution act, air pollution 2. So this act gave power to already incorporated CPCB and SPCB, which were created under Water Pollution Act. This act gave additional power of controlling air pollution to these bodies also. As per the act, industrial units require license from SPCB. Penalties for violations are same: jail from 3 months to 6 years and fine up to 5,000 rupees per day. So 1 mark theory question can come out of any of these statements, so please remember. And then fourth act is Environmental Protection Act 1986. Please remember the date, year of incorporation. The scope of the act is: the act was enacted to protect water, air, land, plants, animals and properties by laying down standards for environmental quality and emission of pollutants. The act also allows carry out investigation on environmental problems. Penal provisions: jail up to 5 years and fine up to 1 lakh rupees. Penal provisions get amended from time to time by Government of India. So responsible person, this is important question, the 1 mark theory question. In case of companies, defaulting companies, directors are held responsible. However, in case of government department's mistake, concerned HOD is being held responsible. So these are the other laws related to industrial health and safety. Normally only name of the act may be asked, or year of incorporation may be asked. So normally deep question doesn't come out of these acts, and it is very difficult to understand each and every act. So for the sake of just remembering the name and years, please remember these names and years from examination purpose. The Explosive Act 1984, Indian Ports Act 1908, Indian Boiler Act 1923, Dangerous Machine Act Regulation Act 1923, Petroleum Act 1934, Plantation Labor Act 1951, Inflammable Substance Act 1952, Mines Act 1952 amended in 1984, Motor Transport Worker Act 1961, Atomic Energy Act 1962, Insecticides Act 1968, Motor Vehicle Act 1988 and recently amended in 2019. So Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1995, the Building and Other Construction Worker Regulation of Employment and Condition of Service Act 1996, and the Energy Conservation Act 2002. So please note down this important statement. 1 mark theory question can come sometimes. Before India's independence, there were several environmental legislations but real impetus for bringing about a well-developed framework came only after UN Conference on the Human Environment held at Stockholm in 1972. So 1 mark theory question sometime come out of this statement, that where that UN conference was conducted on human environment, what was the location or year. So this question can come, after which Indian government started giving more importance to the environmental legislations. So that's all in today's session. So before I'll tell you what we are going to have in our next session on environmental issues, let me again tell you, those who are new and not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click on bell icon so that you will be immediately notified about the upcoming video. So in next session we are going to discuss theory part on the contaminated property. What are the different types of contaminations and what are their effects on the property valuation. The theory part will understand, and then what is a liability, will deep dive the liability of the valuer, how to come out of it. Environmental stigma, what is it? Environmental stigma, restoration of contaminated land, and cost associated with the contamination and remediation. So cost of cure and other type of cost which are required to be calculated by the valuer for valuation of the property. And is there any format for valuation of contaminated property? That we will also try to understand in our next session. Thank you.